Our apartment smelled like rot. Jake's jars of hair made my skin crawl. His threats got worse every day. I snuck into his room to expose him and heard the door creak open. My name is Emily. I'm a 28-year-old nurse living in Atlanta, Georgia. For years, I thought I had it all figured out. A loving fiancé, Ethan, who I was set to marry in 6 months. A close bond with my mom, Linda, who raised me single-handedly after my dad died in a car crash when I was a baby. And my sweet little brother, Noah, who's 4 years old and lights up my world with his giggles. Life felt stable, even if it was exhausting. I worked long shifts at the hospital, pulling doubles to help mom with Noah's expenses. She always said he was the result of a drunken one-night stand, some guy she barely knew. I never questioned it. I just stepped up, like always. Ethan was my rock, or so I thought. He'd hold me when I cried about my workload, whispering that everything would be okay. He'd plan our wedding, talking about the house we'd buy in Buckhead, where Noah could have a big yard to play in. I trusted him completely. Mom adored him too, always saying he reminded her of dad in some way. I thought it was sweet, a sign we were meant to be a family. But last month, everything I believed in shattered. It started with Ethan's old iPad. He'd left it at our apartment, buried under a pile of laundry. I was cleaning up, trying to organize before my next shift, when I picked it up. The screen flickered on, and a notification popped up. A message from Linda, my mom. Odd, I thought. Why would she text his old device? My stomach twisted as I tapped the screen. What I saw made my heart stop. Messages, hundreds of them, going back 4 years. Flirty texts, suggestive emojis, plans to meet when I was out with friends or working late. My hands shook as I scrolled. One message from mom read, "Miss you. When's Emily working late again?" Ethan's reply, "Tomorrow night. I'll come over." I felt sick. My chest tightened like I couldn't breathe. I kept reading, hoping it was a mistake, but then I found it. A message from Ethan, dated right after Noah was born. "I can't believe he's mine. We have to keep this quiet." My knees buckled. I sank to the floor, the iPad slipping from my hands. Noah, my little brother, was Ethan's son. My fiancé had been sleeping with my mom for years, and they'd hidden it from me. The truth hit like a punch to the gut. Every time I'd cried to Ethan about my stress, my health crumbling from working 2 jobs, he'd known. He'd known he was the father of the child I was killing myself to support. I sat there staring at the wall, my mind racing. How could they do this? My mom, my best friend growing up, who'd braided my hair and cheered at my graduation. Ethan, the man I loved, who'd proposed to me under the stars at Piedmont Park. They'd betrayed me in the worst way possible. I thought of Noah's face, his big brown eyes so much like Ethan's. How had I not seen it? Every time I'd cared for him, fed him, tucked him into bed, I was raising my fiancé's child with my own mother. Tears streamed down my face, but I couldn't move. My whole world had collapsed. I thought about all the times Ethan encouraged me to take a break, to go out with my girlfriends to Miami or Savannah. He'd said I deserved it, that I was working too hard. Now I knew why. He wanted me gone so he could be with her. The memory of texting him during those trips, telling him I missed him, made my stomach churn. He'd been in bed with my mom while I was pouring my heart out. I don't know how long I sat there. Minutes, maybe hours. The apartment was quiet, except for the hum of the fridge. Noah was at mom's, and Ethan was at work. I was alone with this awful truth. My heart ached, not just for me, but for Noah. He was innocent, caught in the middle of their lies. I wanted to scream, to throw something, but I was too broken to move. All I could do was cry, silent sobs that shook my whole body. How was I supposed to face them? How was I supposed to keep going? I couldn't stay in that apartment another second. The air felt thick, suffocating, like the walls were closing in. My hands still trembled from reading those messages on Ethan's iPad. My fiancé, my mom, my little brother Noah, their child. It was too much. I needed answers, but more than that, I needed to be done. I sat on the couch, clutching the iPad, waiting for Ethan to get home from his shift at the law firm. Every tick of the clock felt like a stab to my chest. When the door finally creaked open, Ethan walked in, all smiles, loosening his tie. "Hey babe," he said, oblivious. My silence stopped him cold. He looked at me, really looked, and his face changed. "Emily, what's wrong?" His voice was soft, concerned, but it made my skin crawl. I held up the iPad, my hands shaking. "I know," I said, my voice barely a whisper. His eyes widened, then dropped to the floor. He knew exactly what I meant. No denial, no confusion, just guilt. I stood up, my heart pounding. "How could you, Ethan? With my mom, for years?" My voice cracked, tears burning my eyes. He stepped toward me, hands outstretched, but I backed away. "Emily, please, let me explain," he stammered. "Explain? What was there to explain?" I shouted. "You slept with her while I was working myself to death for Noah. Your son." His face crumpled, and he nodded. "It started before we got engaged," he admitted, his voice low. "It was a mistake, a stupid, drunken mistake at first, but then it kept happening. I felt like I'd been slapped. When I was in Miami with my friends, when you told me to take a break, you were with her?" My voice was shaking now, loud, raw. He nodded again, looking away. "That trip, yeah, and other times. But it stopped, Emily. When Linda got pregnant with Noah, we ended it. We swore to keep it a secret to protect you, to protect our family." "Protect me?" The words felt like a cruel joke. I laughed, bitter and hollow. "You let me kill myself working 2 jobs, crying to you about how tired I was while you were hiding this?" He reached for me again, but I shoved past him. "Don't touch me," I snapped. My mind was racing, replaying every moment I'd trusted him, every hug, every kiss, every "I love you," while he was sneaking around with my mom. I thought of Noah, his innocent smile, and my stomach churned. "You're his father," I said, my voice breaking. "I raised your kid, thinking he was just my brother." Ethan's eyes filled with tears, but I didn't care. His pain meant nothing to me now. "I'm done," I said, my voice steady for the first time. "We're over." He begged, his voice desperate. "Emily, please, I love you. I'll do anything. Therapy, whatever you want." But his words words were empty. An affair was bad enough, but with my mom, it was unforgivable. I shook my head, tears streaming down my face. You don't get to fix this, not after what you did. I started packing. My clothes, Noah's toys, his little stuffed dinosaur. I couldn't stay in Atlanta, not in this apartment filled with lies. I called my best friend Emma, who lived in Charlotte, North Carolina. Can we stay with you? I asked, my voice shaking. Me and Noah? She didn't hesitate. Of course, Emily. Come now. I hung up, grateful for her. Before I left, I turned to Ethan, who was still standing there, pathetic and pleading. Tell Linda I'm done with her too, I said. She's dead to me. Packing Noah's things hurt the most. His tiny sneakers, his favorite blanket. I kept seeing Ethan's face in his. How had I missed it? The drive to Charlotte was a blur. Noah was asleep in the backseat, oblivious to the chaos. Every time I glanced at him in the rearview mirror, my heart broke again. I'd lost my fiancé and my mom in one day. My family, gone. I gripped the steering wheel, tears blurring the highway lights. I didn't know how to keep going, but I had to. For Noah, for me. I'd been at Emma's house in Charlotte for a week, trying to piece myself together. Noah was my anchor, his little voice filling the quiet moments, but every laugh of his reminded me of Ethan. I couldn't escape it. The betrayal clung to me like a shadow. I wanted to scream, to let the world know what they'd done. So I did something impulsive. I posted on our family's Facebook group. I laid it all bare. Ethan's affair with my mom, Linda, Noah being his son, the years of lies. I even shared screenshots from Ethan's iPad, the ones I'd sent to myself before leaving Atlanta. My hands shook as I hit post. I needed my family to know the truth. The group chat exploded. My Aunt Karen called me a liar, saying I was tearing the family apart with made-up stories. My grandparents, who'd always doted on Mom, messaged me privately, demanding I delete the post. Stop slandering Linda, they wrote. She's your mother. I fired back. If Ethan's not Noah's dad, ask her who is. They didn't reply. My cousin Sarah was different. She called me, her voice soft. Emily, I believe you. I'm so sorry. She offered me a room at her place in Raleigh, a few hours from Charlotte. I felt a flicker of hope. Someone was on my side. Then I made another mistake. I posted a story time on Instagram, not naming Ethan or Mom directly, but hinting at the infidelity. I didn't expect it to blow up. Our mutual friends from Atlanta saw it, and the comment section turned into a war zone. Some friends, like my old coworker Jess, DM'd me, saying they were horrified and supported me. Others, mostly Ethan's college buddies from his fraternity at Georgia Tech, took his side. No way Ethan would do that, one guy commented. You're just bitter. I didn't respond, but it stung. These were people I'd partied with, shared dinners with. Now they were calling me a liar. The post got more attention than I'd planned. Strangers started DMing Ethan, calling him out. I heard through Jess that he deactivated his Instagram after the hate piled up. Part of me felt vindicated, but another part felt guilty. Had I gone too far? I didn't have time to dwell on it. Ethan's parents called me the next day. Emily, his mom said, her voice thick with pity. Ethan's a mess. He's depressed. You know he's a good guy deep down. I gripped my phone, my jaw tight. Good guys don't sleep with their fiancé's mom, I snapped. They kept pushing, saying he'd been faithful since Noah was born. Like that erased 4 years of betrayal. I told them to stop contacting me. I'm moving on, I said, and hung up. Mom was worse. She found out I was at Emma's and showed up unannounced. I was in the kitchen making Noah a sandwich when the doorbell rang. Emma answered, then called me over, her face pale. There was Linda standing on the porch, her eyes red from crying. Emily, please, she said, her voice breaking. We need to talk. I froze, my heart pounding. Noah was in the living room watching cartoons, oblivious. I didn't want him to see this. There's nothing to say, I told her, my voice cold. She stepped closer, tears streaming. I was grieving, Emily. Ethan, he reminded me of your dad. The way he smiled, the way he talked. It felt like I had him back. I stared at her, my chest tight. My dad died when I was a baby. I only knew him from the faded wedding photo in Grandma's house. That's your excuse? I asked, my voice shaking. You slept with my fiancé because he reminded you of dad? She nodded, sobbing. It was a mistake. It stopped when I got pregnant with Noah. I swear. I wanted to believe her. She'd been my best friend, the one who held me when I failed my first nursing exam, who taught me how to drive. But this was too much. I don't care, I said, though it wasn't true. I want you out of my life. She reached for the door as I tried to close it, her foot stopping it. Please, Emily. I'm your mom. My throat burned, but I pushed the door shut. Not anymore, I whispered. That night, she sent a long text, apologizing again, blaming her grief, saying she never meant to hurt me. I read it over and over, each word cutting deeper. I missed her. I hated that I missed her. But how could I forgive her? She'd had a child with the man I loved. Emma sat with me that night, listening as I poured out my heart. She didn't judge, just held my hand. You don't have to decide anything now, she said. Just take care of you and Noah. Her words grounded me. I realized I couldn't stay in Charlotte forever, burdening her with my mess. Sarah's offer in Raleigh felt like a lifeline. I started planning to move, to get away from the chaos. But Ethan wasn't done. He kept texting from new numbers, begging to talk. Our mutual friends started DMing me, asking, can't you just hear him out? Every time I said no. I was done letting him control me. I had to protect myself, protect Noah. But deep down, I knew this wasn't over. Not yet. I thought cutting Ethan and my mom out of my life would bring peace, but I was wrong. A month after I moved to Emma's in Charlotte, Ethan took me to court. He was fighting for partial custody of Noah, his son. My stomach dropped when I got the legal notice. I knew this wasn't about Noah. It was about control, about keeping me tethered to him. I'd blocked his number, ignored his pleas through friends, but he wasn't giving up. The idea of facing him in a courtroom made my chest tighten. I wasn't ready, but I had to be, for Noah. The court hearings in Raleigh were brutal. I sat across from Ethan, his face calm, professional, like he hadn't shattered my world. His lawyer argued he was Noah's father, with a right to see his son. My lawyer countered, pointing out his betrayal, how he'd lied for years, but the judge didn't care about my broken heart. This is about the child's best interests, she said, her voice flat. I wanted to scream. How was Ethan, the man who'd slept with my mom behind my back, in Noah's best interests? But DNA didn't lie. Ethan was his father, and the law was on his side. Every session drained me. I'd leave the courthouse, my hands shaking, my eyes burning with unshed tears. Noah didn't understand what was happening, but he felt my stress. He'd cling to me at night, asking, "Why are you sad, Emmy?" I'd force a smile, tuck him into bed, and say, "I'm okay, buddy." But I wasn't. I was falling apart. Ethan's lawyer painted me as unstable, saying I'd uprooted Noah by moving to Charlotte. It wasn't true, but it hurt. I was trying to protect him, to give him a safe home away from the lies. The final hearing was the worst. Ethan took the stand, his voice steady, saying he wanted to be a real father to Noah. I stared at him, my heart pounding. A real father? He'd hidden the truth for 4 years, let me raise his son while he cheated with my mom. I wanted to shout, to tell the judge he was lying, but my lawyer held me back. "Stay calm," she whispered. I bit my lip so hard I tasted blood. When the judge ruled, her words hit like a sledgehammer. Ethan got partial custody. Noah would spend summers with him in Atlanta and the school year with me in Raleigh. I felt like I'd been punched. Noah was only 4, too young to understand, but old enough to feel the pain. As we left the courtroom, he ran to me, his little arms wrapping around my legs. "I don't want to go with him, Emmy," he sobbed, his voice muffled against my jeans. My heart shattered. I knelt down, hugging him tight, tears streaming down my face. "It's just for the summer, Noah," I said, my voice breaking. "I'll call you every day, I promise." But inside, I was screaming. How could I let him go? Ethan approached, his face soft, like he was the victim. "Emily, I'm not trying to hurt you," he said. Then he reached for Noah, pulling him from my arms. Noah wailed, his tiny hands reaching for me. "Stop turning him against me," Ethan snapped, his voice sharp. I froze, my blood boiling. "You did this," I said, my voice low, trembling. "You broke us." He didn't respond, just turned and walked away, Noah's cries echoing in the hallway. I stood there, helpless, watching them disappear. That night, I sat in Emma's guest room, staring at Noah's empty bed. His stuffed dinosaur lay on the pillow, forgotten. I clutched it, sobbing, the pain raw and overwhelming. I'd raised him, loved him like my own, only to lose him to the man who'd betrayed me. I felt like Ethan was punishing me, using Noah to keep me in his orbit. The thought made me sick. I wanted to fight, to appeal the ruling, but my lawyer said it was pointless. Ethan had rights, and I had to accept it. But how? How do you accept losing the one person who keeps you going? Noah was gone for the summer, with Ethan in Atlanta. The silence in my life was deafening. I moved out of Emma's house in Charlotte, grateful for her support, but I needed a fresh start. My cousin Sarah helped me find a small house in Raleigh's suburbs, with a big backyard for Noah to play in when he returned. I poured my savings into the rent, determined to build a home for us. But every night, alone, I felt the weight of everything: Ethan's betrayal, my mom's lies, the court's ruling. It was like a wound that wouldn't heal. I threw myself into my career. As a nurse, I'd always found purpose in helping others, but now it was my lifeline. I updated my resume, applied for jobs at hospitals in Raleigh, and landed a position at WakeMed. The work was grueling, but it kept my mind off the pain. I started therapy too. Sitting in that quiet office, spilling my heart to a stranger, felt strange at first, but it helped. I talked about Mom, how I missed her despite everything. I talked about Ethan, how his face in Noah's broke me every time. The therapist listened, nodding, helping me untangle the mess inside me. Sarah was my rock. She'd check in, bring me coffee, and sit with me when I cried. She helped me save money, even co-signed the lease on my new place. "You're stronger than you know," she'd say, squeezing my hand. I didn't feel strong, but her words kept me going. One day, while unpacking, I found an old photo in a box. It was me, Mom, and Noah at a park in Atlanta, before everything fell apart. We were laughing, Noah's tiny hand in mine. I stared at it, tears falling. My family was broken, but I wasn't. Not completely. I realized something then. I couldn't change the past: Ethan's affair, Mom's betrayal, the court's decision, but I could control my future. I could be the best big sister to Noah, give him the love and stability he deserved. I started small. I decorated his room in our new house, painting it blue, his favorite color. I bought a soccer ball for the backyard, imagining us kicking it together when he came back. I called him every day, his little voice on the phone keeping me grounded. "I miss you, Emmy," he'd say, and I'd choke back tears, promising we'd be together soon. The fear of what lay ahead still lingered. Would Ethan cause more trouble? Would Noah be okay? But I was done letting fear win. I had a new job, a new home, a new chance. That photo, the one of us laughing, reminded me I could build a new family, one built on trust, not lies. For the first time in months, I felt a spark of hope. I was broken, but I was rebuilding. For Noah, for me.